Wastewater comes from point sources such as drain pipes, ditches, factories, sewage treatment plants, oil tankers, and underground mines. Wastewater also comes from non-point sources, where we don't know the exact source but includes surface water, urban streets, lawns, etc. Agricultural activities are the leading cause of water pollutants, and next is industrial facilities. There are many laws that guide the wastewater system. All wastewater system operations companies are required to hold a current registration. Also, all persons involved in process control of domestic wastewater treatment plants in Texas are required to be licensed wastewater treatment plant operators. Similarly, all persons directly supervising domestic wastewater collection system operation or maintenance crews in Texas are required to be either licensed wastewater collection system operators or licensed wastewater treatment plant operators. Most importantly is the Clean Water Act. The Clean Water Act, also known as the CWA, establishes the basic structure for regulating discharges of pollutants into the waters of the U.S. and regulating quality standards of surface waters. The basis of the CWA was enacted in 1948 and was called the Federal Water Pollution Control Act, but the act was significantly recognized and expanded in 1972. Clean Water Act became the act's common name with amendments in 1972. The CWA made it unlawful to discharge any pollutant from a point source into navigable waters unless a permit was obtained. There have been environmental impacts of wastewater throughout history. A specific example is Love Canal. Between 1942 and 1953, Hooker Chemicals and plastic dumped steel drums of at least 200 chemicals were poured into an old canal close to Niagara Falls, New York. In 1953, the canal was sealed. In 1959, a school, playgrounds, and 500 homes were built. An expressway was also built at the end of the dump, blocking the groundwater from going into the Niagara, causing a buildup of contaminated groundwater. Residents complained about the chemical smells and chemical burns from playing in the canal. Chemicals left the drums and flooded parks, basements, and gardens. The area was abandoned and the area was added to the Superfund list. Superfund was a law that forced polluters to pay for cleaning up abandoned toxic waste and made them wary of producing new ones. Almost $400 million was spent on Love Canal to clean up the area, adding new clay to cover up the landfill. People are now allowed to live there, but must sign a contract stating to the government that they had no guarantees of safety in the area. The wastewater systems we've observed are for large-scale wastewater management control. For individual households, there's the individual septic system. Nearly 1 in 4 households in the U.S. depend on an individual septic system, also referred to as an on-site system, or small community cluster system to treat their wastewater. For the larger scale, however, there's a 3-part system that is involved with managing the wastewater. Primary, which is mechanical treatment, is designed to remove gross, suspended, and floating solids from raw sewage. It includes screening to trap solid objects and sedimentation by gravity to remove suspended solids. Secondary, or biological treatment, removes the dissolved organic matter that escapes primary treatment. This is achieved by microbes consuming the organic matter as food and converting it to carbon dioxide, water, and energy for their own growth and reproduction. The biological process is then followed by additional setting tanks to remove more of the suspended solids. Tertiary treatment is simply additional treatment beyond secondary. Tertiary treatment can remove more than 99% of all the impurities from sewage, producing an effluent of almost drinking quality water. An example of a typical tertiary treatment process is the modification of a conventional secondary treatment plant to remove additional phosphorus and nitrogen. Disinfection, typically with chlorine, can be the final step before discharge of the effluent. However, some environmental authorities are concerned that the chlorine residuals in the effluent can be a hazard.